Oh boy, look at this mess. No one is helping these guys clean the house. Here's a photo from West Virginia, taken way back in 1908. You can see a young coal trapper hard at work inside a mine. This photo looks like something straight out of a cartoon, doesn't it? But believe it or not, this is actually a real sport that was super popular back in the late 1800s. Here's a picture of Charles Darwin, taken in 1869. Alright, check out this cool old photo. It's of a machine from 1931, and what did it sell? Ready to go, already lit cigarettes. Imagine that. Here's a charming photo from 1895. It's a dog, all dressed up and ready for tea time. Isn't that adorable? "17-year-old Juliane Kupke had quite a harrowing experience. Back in 1971, she was on a plane that got hit by a bolt of lightning. The impact was so strong that she was actually sucked out of the airplane. She then fell 2 miles to the ground, still strapped to her seat, and somehow she survived. Here's a photo of some lovely cakes. They were made for the Sky Riders during National Air Travel Week, and this was all the way back in Washington, D.C., on October the 4th, 1938. During World War II, Walt Disney came up with a really clever idea. He designed a Mickey Mouse gas mask. The idea was to make kids feel more comfortable and less scared while wearing it. This photo is from the 1940s. Here's a photo from Chelyabinsk in the Soviet Union, way back in 1946. Looks like a sports parade. Picture this, a giant Superman, inflated with helium, soaring above Times Square. It was 1940 and he was leading the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Pretty awesome, right? Here's a photo of John Lewis getting arrested in Tennessee. This happened in 1961 during the Civil Rights Movement. He was arrested for organizing and demonstrating. Here's a photo of Chester McDuffie in his 200-kilogram aluminum alloy wetsuit. This was taken back in the year 1911. This is the Vatican's library gallery, and it was taken around 1855. This is a chest X-ray being taken way back in 1914 in Paris. It's in Dr. Maxime Menard's radiology department at Cochin Hospital. Sadly, Menard would later lose a finger because of the side effects from using that X-ray machine. Here's a photo of a child waiting. It looks like he's outside a Glasgow tenement building back in 1971. Must have been a long wait for his parents to come home. Here's a photo that takes you right back to 1969. It's Buzz Aldrin's footprint on the moon. Just amazing. Here's a photo of President Gerald Ford with his golden retriever, Liberty. This picture was taken back in 1974. Here's a photo of the Fourth Bridge, way back when it was still under construction. This is a picture of Charles Lindbergh, who made history back in 1927. He was the first person to fly the Atlantic Ocean all by himself. He landed on May 21st, 1927, after that incredible journey. Here's a shot of the elevator at the Eiffel Tower, way back during its construction. We're looking at it on the first level. This is a really charming Christmas scene. It's a toy store window display from New York, way back in 1910. Doesn't it just make you want to step inside? This photo shows astronaut Alan B. Shepard Jr., the pilot of the Mercury Redstone 3, or MR3, mission. He's suited up in his pressure suit and you can see the body parachute attached. Here's a look at the power mower of the future, being demonstrated way back on October 14, 1957. Here's the shot. It's Zach T. Wilcox, the guy with the world's longest beard. This was taken way back in 1922. Here's a photo from the Vietnam War. We see a United States corpsman, a medic, carrying an injured child away from the fighting in Hue. This is a studio photo of two women, taken sometime in the 1900s. Here's a shot of a family out for a ride in the United Kingdom circa the 1930s. And you can tell, safety wasn't exactly top of mind back then. Disco Granny, a regular fixture at Studio 54. Alright, this is a picture of Whirling Hawk, a Sioux Indian. It's from Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, way back in the year 1900. Alright, this photo, it's from the 1930s. You can see the group, all huddled together. Here's a beautiful portrait of a young girl and a child. This was taken in Japan, probably around 1908. Here's a photo of a Soviet war veteran standing next to an eternal flame. It's a poignant moment, captured on the anniversary of Victory Day, back in 1966. A lovely photo of twins in homemade costumes from the 1930s. Here's a pretty chilling photo. It shows a 17-year-old girl named Lepa Radic, who was executed by the Nazis during World War II. She was a Yugoslavian partisan, and they were trying to get her to give up the names of her friends. When they asked her, she said, "You will know them when they come to avenge me." The year was 1943. Here's a photo of Robin Williams and his old roommate from the Juilliard School, Christopher Reeve. It was taken around 1977. Here's a look at elegance on the streets of New York City, way back in 1928. Here's a photo of Ferruccio Lamborghini from the 1960s. Here's a photo of Corporal Jackie, a baboon, who served in the South African Army during World War I. He was the official mascot of the 3rd Transvaal Regiment back in 1915. Here's a look back at a pretty cool moment in history. This is an early electric-powered Bursey cab, and it gives us a peek at the innovative but definitely tricky transition to electric taxis. This picture was taken in London, England, back in 1897, a stroller from the United States back in 1921. And get this, it's got a radio built right in. You can see the antenna and a loudspeaker, all to keep the baby happy and quiet. Pretty wild, huh? Here's a photo of 16-year-old Walt Disney taken around 1917. This striking photo shows a massive crowd of 40,000 people. They're all giving the Nazi salute, responding to a speech by the Czech Nazi leader Konrad Henlein. This was back on May 1st, 1938. It's a really powerful image of a dark moment in history. Here's the photo of Metallica. They're playing a 10-song set inside San Quentin prison. This was all during the filming of their Saint Anger video, and they were under some pretty strict rules from the warden. This was in San Quentin, California on May 1st, 2003. Here's a fun one. Check out this ostrich, totally engrossed in the newspaper. It looks like it's reading the caretaker's paper from the National Archive back in 1951. Here's a photo of Mark Twain, whose real name was Samuel L. Clemens, with his longtime friend John T. Lewis. It's believed that Lewis was probably the inspiration for the character Jim in Huckleberry Finn. They're standing together at Quarry Farm in Elmira, New York, back in 1903. Here's a cool old photo. It looks like a group of dads with their babies. This was taken way back in Vilnius, which was part of the Lithuanian Soviet Socialist Republic, in the year 1967. An old IBM 1401 computer system. You can see the big screens. This photo was taken back in 1960. All right, check out this photo. It's Miss Sausage Queen from 1955. Looks like she was sponsored by the Zion Meat Company, and this was all during National Hot Dog Week. Pretty cool, huh? Here's a fun one. This photo shows William Dwyer, and he's taking quite the ride. Looks like he's on an ostrich. It's a really quirky shot from back in the day, taken in California way back in 1917. Here's a cool shot. This is a Wehrmacht soldier during World War II, and check it out. There's a cat just casually hanging out on top of his helmet. This photo shows a youth meeting. It was taken on the 9th of May, 1932. You can see children from the East End of London gathered together, talking about their day out in the country. The Hoxton Market Mission is organizing a fund appeal to make these country trips possible for them. Wow! Check out this amazing photo. It looks like a real blizzard hit Times Square. This happened way back in 1936. Can you imagine being stuck there after a freak snowstorm? Looks like some frozen switch caused the streetcars to just screech to a halt. What a scene. Here's the photo. This is Neva Elizabeth Burright, and she was 65 years old when she competed as a harness racer at Maywood Park in Chicago back in 1948. Here's what it looked like at Christmas at the hospital, way back in Sweden in 1953. This incredible photo shows a photographer suspended from a crane capturing the streets of London. This was back in 1929. In this photo, a soldier stands guard next to his M60 machine gun. You can see it set up right on the steps of the United States Capitol building. This was back in April of 1968, during the riots following Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination in Washington, D.C. They were clearly there to prevent anyone from trying to enter the building. Here's a shot of the Dale Creek Bridge. It's a bridge built way back in the 1800s, right here in Wyoming. Now this bridge was so rickety, trains had to crawl across it. They were only allowed to go 4 miles per hour to make sure everyone stayed safe. Here's a photo from Detroit, Michigan, in June of 1943. You can see a woman climbing out the back window of a tram. A mob stopped the car, trying to get the black passengers off during those terrible race riots. All right, check this out. Here's a cool photo of motorbike chariot races in London, way back in 1927. This is a beautiful old photo of an Arab woman in Muscat, Oman. She's wearing a traditional face mask, and the picture was taken way back in 1905. A photo showing the German submarine U-196 under attack. It's being targeted by an American anti-submarine aircraft, a PBY Catalina. This all went down on March 8, 1943. Here's a great old photo. It shows 2 boys going fishing in Texas back in 1925. All right, here's a cool shot. It shows a police dog on duty hanging out in a sidecar. This photo is from the 1930s, probably taken way back then. Here's a shot from 1932 called "We Want Bear." Here's a picture of a child labor strike in Philadelphia, back in 1902. Here's a picture of the Tiller Girls performing. This was back in 1923. They're dancing for the Queen of New York Beaches, Madge Merritt. Here's a fantastic old photo of a group of gentlemen. They're all gathered in front of the Western Hotel in Oroville, and it looks like they're really enjoying a 4th of July celebration. This one was taken way back in 1889 in Butte County, California. This amazing old photo shows the Pasadena Tournament of Roses chariot race. This was way back in 1911, and the event took place in Los Angeles. All right, here are some lovely photos of a young Dolly Parton with her husband. Here's a cool old photo. It's of the Horse Fountain in Melrose, Massachusetts, sometime in the 1900s. This photo shows the Moskvich G2, a really exceptional racing car. It was built way back in 1956 by I.A. Gladilin and I.I. Okunev. As the Hindenburg plummeted in a ball of flames, a radio announcer perfectly captured the moment by crying, "Oh, the humanity!" This 1937 disaster ended the era of Zeppelin travel for good. This is the Puddle Jumper, built way back in 1934.